a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. Bud Luckey. William Everett, Bud Luckey was an American animator, cartoonist, singer, musician, designer, composer, artist, voice artist, and comedian. Best known for his work at Pixar, where he worked as a character designer on a number of films, including Toy Story, Boundin, Toy Story 2, A Bug's Life, Monsters Incorporated, Finding Nemo, Cars, The Incredibles, Ratatouille, and Toy Story 3. Luckey was also known as the voice of Rick Dicker in The Incredibles, Chuckles the Clown in Toy Story 3, and as Eeyore in the 2011 Winnie the Pooh film. In 2004, Luckey directed and wrote the Pixar short film Boundin, for which he also composed music, and performed as the solo singer and narrator. It won the Annie Award and was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film. Luckey continued to work as a performer of character voices in both Disney and Pixar films until his retirement in 2014. Military service. During the Korean War, Luckey served in the United States Air Force. He later served as an artist illustrator with the NATO Allied Occupation Forces in Europe and North Africa from 1953 to 1954 and, finally, with the Strategic Air Command from 1954-57. Among Luckey's Air Force duty stations was Nwasser Air Base, a nuclear bomber strike base and nuclear weapons storage depot south of Casablanca, Morocco. There, he served with the 3rd Air Force Air Materiel Command, Southern District. Additional duty stations were Lackland AFB and Kelly AFB, as well as Portland AFB. Through the mid-1960s, he remained an Air Force reservist. Art school and early career. After leaving active Air Force duty and with the benefits of the Korean War GI Bill, Luckey attended Schwinnow Art Institute from 1957 to 1960. He was a Disney scholar, and received professional animation training at the University of Southern California, with Disney veteran animator Art Babbitt. After graduation, Luckey worked for a time as Babbitt's assistant, apprentice, at Quartet Films in Los Angeles. In 1961, he served as an animator for The Alvin Show. He also worked as an animator and sequence director on a pilot for Mad Magazine television special produced by longtime friends Jimmy T. Murakami and Gordon Bellamy. Luckey would later serve as an animator on The Mouse and His Child, and as an uncredited assistant animator on Don Bluth's first animated feature The Secret of Nim. Television commercials. As an advertising agency art director and producer from 1961 to 1969 at the Guild, Bascom, and Bonfigli Agency, Luckey worked on television commercials for Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, Fruit Loops, and Rice Krispies, as well as Interstate Bakery's Dolly Madison products featuring Charles M. Schulz Peanuts characters. He created the Bosco Dum Bunnies characters for the Best Foods chocolate flavor milk amplifier product Bosco chocolate syrup. The commercial spots were animated by renowned animators Fred Wolf and Jimmy Murakami. In 1966, Luckey won a Clio Award for the General Mills commercial Betty Crocker Magic Faucet. Luckey also worked with Alex Anderson, who created the characters of Rocky the Flying Squirrel, Bullwinkle, and Dudley Do-Right, as well as the more obscure Crusader Rabbit. Anderson was the vice president of television at the Guild Bascom Bonfigli Agency at that time. Despite its San Francisco location, the Guild Bascom Bonfigli Agency was also well known for its work on political campaigns. The agency's creative director Maxwell Bud Arnold was considered a foremost expert in the budding field of television advertising for politics, and Arnold's expertise brought many key political figures to the agency's roster. In that regard, Luckey also did work on the presidential campaigns of John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Hubert Humphrey, who were clients of the agency during his tenure. Charles M. Schulz Peanuts characters such as Charlie Brown and Snoopy were used by the Dancer Fitzgerald Sample Agency for its client Interstate Bakery's products sold under the Dolly Madison brand name. Luckey was placed in charge as the senior art director/producer for all advertising containing Schulz characters. As a result, Luckey often visited Schulz to review material, as well as famed animator Bill Melendez, whose studio produced the animation containing the Schulz characters. Luckey's relationship with Schultz and Melendez was such that after Luckey left the agency in 1969 to form his own animation company, dancer Fitzgerald Sample contracted him for several years to continue working on the Dolly Madison campaigns featuring Schultz's characters. While working at the Guild Bascom and Bonfigli, dancer Fitzgerald Sample agency, Luckey first collaborated with copywriter Don Hadley. The two became lifelong friends until Hadley's death in 2007. After leaving the agency, Hadley and Luckey co-created numerous short films for Sesame Street. During the mid-1960s, Jim Henson worked with Luckey on commercials. They remained close friends until Henson's death in 1990. That friendship later resulted in Luckey's work on Sesame Street and his illustration work featuring Henson's Muppet characters in the 1970s and 80s. Sesame Street. During the 1970s, Luckey wrote and animated many short films for Sesame Street and the Children's Television Workshop, often doing the voice work himself as well. Among them are The Ladybug's Picnic, That's About the Size of It, the Donny Bud series featuring numbers 2 to 6, Penny Candyman, Martian Beauty, The Alligator King, Lovely 11 Morning, The Old Woman Who Lived in a Nine, and the award-winning Longy and Shorty the Rattlesnakes miniseries. He returned to work on one more segment for Sesame Street in 1990 titled Zeboo. Many of Luckey's Sesame Street works were created with his longtime friend and creative collaborator lyricist Don Hadley. Luckey founded his own animation studio titled the Luckey Zamora Picture Moving Company in the early 1970s and merged its operation with Colossal Pictures in the late 1980s before joining Pixar in 1992. The company then took studio space in the produce district of San Francisco. In the 1970s and 1980s, it was the largest animation studio in the San Francisco Bay Area. His film credits included The Extraordinary Adventures of the Mouse and His Child. He worked on Betty Boop's Hollywood Mystery and did character design for Back to the Future, the animated series from 1991 to 1992. Pixar. In the 2005 DVD release of Pixar The Incredibles, in addition to Bud Luckey's Oscar-nominated short Boundin, the studio included a short biography of Luckey entitled, Who is Bud Luckey? In that video biography, Pixar Creative Executive Vice President John Lasseter declared, Bud Luckey is one of the true unsung heroes of animation. In 1990, Luckey joined Pixar as a character designer, storyboard artist, and animator for Toy Story. John Lasseter credits Luckey with the creation and design of the star of Toy Story, Woody, a cowboy. Originally, the character was a ventriloquist dummy like Edgar Bergen's character Charlie McCarthy. He evolved into a talking doll with a pull string and a gunless holster. His character designs can also be seen in A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Incorporated, Finding Nemo, Cars, Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up, and Toy Story 3, in which he also voices a clown named Chuckles. In 2003, Luckey gained attention for the short film Boundin, which was released theatrically as the opening cartoon for The Incredibles. It was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Animated Short in 2003. Luckey wrote and designed the short, and also composed the music and lyrics, and sang and performed banjo on the soundtrack for the cartoon. Boundin won the ASCII for Hollywood Annie Award that same year. In The Incredibles, Luckey voiced the role of National Super's agency agent Rick Dicker. In the film's DVD commentary, director Brad Bird jokes that he had an idea to start Boundin with Rick Dicker coming into his office late at night, pulling out a bottle of booze and a banjo to start singing the song about the dancing sheep who is sheared and has his confidence restored by the jackalope. He also lent his voice to Chuckles the Clown in Toy Story 3 and Hawaiian Vacation. Other works. Luckey designed and illustrated more than 100 children's books containing his characters, including The Golden Book Mater and The Ghost Light, which featured the Cars character Mater. He featured in the 2011 film Winnie the Pooh as the voice of Eeyore. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to know more?